Hello, Proguides. Epic intro. It hasn't been the third time that we're recording this because somebody has a microphone that picks up their desktop audio.
That wasn't me, believe it or not.
It wasn't him. There's a third guy with us here, but first, we'll introduce ourselves. I'm Jenkins. I have a YouTube channel here on YouTube. It's youtube.com/channel/Jenkins69. This is Newsham, Dota, pro player extraordinaire from Team Leviathan, Team, major qualifier. Unfortunately not player, but major qualifier. And then we have with us a mutual friend of other people, but not us. His name is Valithor.
Morning, guys.
Good joke.
That was a good one.
Thank you. And he is Ancient One, right?
Ancient
Oh, what MMR is that?
Oh, wow. You never...
4K.
Didn't ask this question before. Okay.
Okay, and what are we doing? What are we doing with Valithor? We are going to coach him. We're going to try to get him to 7K for the DPC season next year. We'll do carry for now. And so we're gonna try throughout this series to get Valithor to 7K, and where we're gonna start is we're just gonna look at a devastating loss today from Valithor. Actually, we should mention, I think it's probably worth mentioning, that Valithor is part of our Aghanims Trials group. That's what gave us the idea for this, is that we got like what, 4th and then 5th place in that.
Right.
So we were like, you know what? That's, to me, equivalent to being a 7K Dota player. If you can do well in Aghanims Trials, you're basically a professional Dota player at that point already.
Sure.
Exactly.
So, all right, which one of these is your most devastating loss?
That Ursa game.
Let's go to the Ursa ones. He's playing carry. That's
This
a month ago, though.
51 minutes?
Or something.
Wait a minute.
No, that one's
a day
recent.
ago. Oh, that's recent.
4,
Okay.
8. All right, let's look at this. So you're Ursa. Okay. Let's see. Anything crazy in this game? Not really. Just pretty standard picks. Go ahead and load up. Get in here. Let's see. Okay. If you
Check out
want...
the starting items.
Sure.
Seems fine.
Yeah, seems good. I think an early oov in this.
I mean, I could be really good versus Mars. You know, the strength offlaners.
Yeah. Honestly.
Do you ever buy like an Uv if you don't buy it in the very start, Valithor?
Yeah, sometimes.
Okay. So yeah, I see a lot of carriers starting to do that. They'll like buy their first Wraith Band or whatever. Like sometimes they'll just go like Boots Uv, or like even before their Wraith Band they'll get it on like Slark or Ursa or something.
Yeah, in the most recent patch I've been kind of not buying many Oos just because I've been focusing on getting like farming items faster.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I don't think it's like a super big deal. It just like makes a lane that's winning into like a stomp.
I think just having the idea there to adapt to it is good.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what Dota's all about, really. It's adapting.
It's true.
You can make some lane that you're like trading 50-50, where you're suddenly kicking them out of lane. It's like 70-30 or 80-20.
Yeah, definitely.
Understandable.
I like the fact that you threw the hot pepper. I think that's a really good tilting strategy. You can just go ahead and tilt people before the game starts. A lot of people start with Earth Shock on Ursa, so they can like get the range creep in that scenario. But you have a Rasta, so like technically he could get it, but I don't think he really wants to be spending mana on or spending this like one target charge on a hero. Not on a hero. Like he wants to use it on a hero. But I mean, you didn't miss the range creep, so it's not like a super big deal. We'll skip ahead until we.
Last 2 CS? Did you miss those?
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll go ahead and check that out just to make sure. So with Fury swipes. All right, I gotta say this is some dog garbage camera positioning right now, and this is why I'm a huge fan of camera grip. So like you don't see right now if there's a range creep that's getting denied. You have no idea. You can't know because your camera's not in position. I don't know because I'm watching your camera, but I can scroll down. Okay, there isn't, but we all had no idea, right? Because the camera's here. So this is why I really like using camera grip. I have it bound to middle mouse button. I don't know if you have it set up, Valithor, but in the lane, I'll always set my camera to be like this. So like you can see all of these creeps here. You can see all these creeps here. You can see the heroes, like where they're standing. Like compare this camera position to this one. It's like there's all of this wasted space up here. And this is not just like a laning thing. This is something you can do in like team fights when you're farming jungle camps. Even if you don't want to use camera grip, I like it because my normal camera movement is really fast. But if your normal camera movement is slow enough that you can like, you know, edge pan down here. See, for me, it's like I overshoot, so I'm missing creeps. That's why I use camera grip. It's like a little hard for me because with the streaming, like
I don't actually use camera grip, but my camera speed's pretty slow. It's like 5,000 or something. I know a lot of people play like 8,000, like the cap, but
well, I don't know what mine is, but I think it's pretty slow.
I see. But yeah, you can use edge. You just have to make sure. I think camera movement's really important, even if you're not using mouse grip, which I think you should just use if you can get used to it. But I'm sure it's better than whatever I'm doing.
Yeah, I'm a big fan, but it really, like the concept, I think it matters a lot more of like not wasting camera space. It's a small thing, but like just seeing this, I can tell that it's probably like a recurring problem. Like still it's bad. Like you don't see the Rubik,
yeah,
right?
Even this right now, yeah, it should be down more. Yeah.
And if you're gonna work on this is not something you should work on with other problems in mind as well, because this is like already too much to think about. You know what I mean? It's like really hard to work on like
this is legit something you could do in like an unranked game.
I would also say like just in terms of like on the topic of camera, I think like looking over here to see what the heck's going on with these two fighting. Maybe you could have helped out earlier, but you know it's cool that Rubik's just like walking over and feeding your guy. That's all right.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff happens in these low rated games.
Hey man, this happens in my games.
People die in weird. I don't know. People tend to die in weird spots. That's all I'll say. I was telling Jenkins that playing on Europe, I have like 160 ping, but I actually think I would gain more MMR on that server just not even playing well, like mechanically or doing anything crazy, right? It's just literally existing in the game and not feeding where someone else probably would be feeding. Just like making the game harder for everyone else in the game. I think that's actually a huge problem in these low-rated games is everyone wants to help contribute, even if they're flaming each other, which usually ends up happening, is like a fight will break out and some guy will be like, why are we fighting here? And then he'll TP in and die too. And then he'll get mad at his team even more. But it's like, if you knew it was bad, you called them out for it. You had no reason to run in with them. You know what I mean? It's like some save your friend syndrome.
That's why
I guess we didn't actually see that happen, but
that's why we call
I'm sure it will.
I mean, we did see it happen. We saw Rubik lethargically die. It just happened to be like against.
I guess. But I'm just saying specifically like trying to help teammates dying. But yeah, I agree. People just die for really weird casual reasons in these low-rated games. I think they are of the opinion that like these deaths aren't that important. You know what I mean? They're not like thinking hard enough like, oh, I really can't die. How am I gonna die? And then they think of how to prevent it, right? They're just kind of playing what's in front of them. It's like there's these creeps I want to hit. I want to make this guy stop hitting creeps. Or they get this idea of like, I want to stun this guy, and then they really want to stun him, no matter what happens next.
That's true. I definitely find people don't adapt to like changing situations once they have an idea in their head. It's like they're engaged. If somebody wants to fight, they're engaging in Mortal Kombat no matter what.
Right. I think it's just that idea gets worse and worse and more extreme the lower rating you get. Yeah, it's like they heard this video. BSJ says don't go to the dead lane, and like their team will be dying, and they could have made the difference. You know what I mean? But they're like, oh, BSJ told me not to go there. You know, it's like it doesn't make sense. He's saying it for a specific reason. You know.
Right. I mean, even BSJ says Dota's a game of rules, but also exceptions. It's like there's so many exceptions in this game. You can't just do the same thing every time.
This is really minor, but do you think phase boots are good here? I know it's not like the biggest of difference. Like Jenkins and Valithor, do you guys like it?
I like treads when you're going Battlefield.
I'm of the opinion from watching a lot of carries based on their decision making is like if the game has more right click damage in the game and they can like chase people around, they'll go phase. Or like heroes that don't have that much armor, especially like non-agi heroes, like strength heroes. I see people tend to like favor phase and like Sven and stuff. Like this game, for example, has a lot of magic damage. I feel like treads are probably pretty good.
Probably. I think I usually think about that too. I think I autopiloted about phase boots in this game. I don't think I had a good reason to.
Sounds like you do a lot of autopiloting.
That's like the classic thing that we give Valithor shit over is like the lethargic, just making decisions like whatever. Like that's
insane. The dying doesn't matter. It's like I'm playing support because I want the token.
Yeah.
It doesn't really matter.
just giving everybody a reference for like why we're giving him crap over this. It's like this is the common thread with Valithor is usually like I knew it was the wrong thing, but whatever.
But see, this is also why I think I wanted to do this coaching thing. I think it's so unique because a lot of people don't realize they're doing this thing, right? But we're like good players pointing it out to him. Or like most people would just be doing this and they're watching your videos and they're like, why am I not 7k MMR? It's like, well, you're really lazy about the way you're going playing. It's like, if you want to play for fun, go for it. I'm not your dad, but if you're wondering why you're losing, this is exactly it. You know what I mean? I can pinpoint exactly where it starts to go wrong and eventually snowballs.
It's a weird psychological thing. Not to like tangent too far, but I think a lot of people that do like the lethargic dying or not really trying or like raging at games, like they actually do want to win. But then they're like kind of playing as if they don't, and it's because I think it's like Dota as a real addiction sort of problem. You know what I mean? It's like they're like they're getting like too emotionally invested in the game, so they have these like defense mechanisms or whatever of like, oh, I'm not really trying, or I'm just gonna rage at my team. This, you know what I mean? It's like people aren't playing for the right reasons. I think the classic is
like, I should be higher MMR than I actually am, so like they kind of treat the game as if I'll just win the next one. But if you're doing that every time, eventually you're just losing MMR.
This is true. Yeah.
I hear that one the most from low-rated players, actually. It's like, oh, I'm this MMR, but I should be this. It's like, but you're not.
Well, I just wanted to point out the camera positioning thing again, because like I want to make a point that this is not just a laning phase problem. This is like it's really important to work on at a point and fix it, because it applies to like throughout the entire game. And you'll have what'll be a big turning point is that you'll have a situation where you would have died, and then you survive because of good camera positioning, and then in that moment it'll click and you'll never have bad camera positioning again. I guarantee you that will happen to anybody that's watching too. If this is a problem for you, you'll have a moment where it's like you survived miraculously because you saw a guy a second earlier, and then you never have bad camera positioning again. You realize how important it is, how good it is.
Just because you're not being punished for it in a bad game doesn't mean you should try to get these habits going, because once you start to get into the better games that you deserve to be in, you have to know this stuff, or else you're going to be called out. Like, people will know immediately if they see your rank high and they're like, well, this guy's just dying to crazy stuff. If they watch the replay or even like watch your hero, they'll know right away that you just don't belong in the rating because of these simple things. So like, if you're in bad games and you're thinking like, oh, well, this stuff doesn't apply to me, because I'm not getting ganked, like how we pointed out how Lion has level 3 mana drain, it still does apply to you technically, because you should be trying to learn these things, because you should just assume players are good. You should assume the best in them and play around it, in my opinion. I think there's no other way to play, really.
I agree. The way I have previously explained it to people in coaching just randomly is that it's like the best players, like Arteezy, are the people that are always thinking like, what angle can they get killed from? Who can kill them? They're thinking of all these possible scenarios where they could get killed, and then they like prepare for all of them. Right? In a moment, like if somebody could come from an area and it would get them killed, they like stay away from the left side of the map. For example, like, okay, let me actually move the camera and show you. So like, for example, if you're Arteezy or whatever, he might think like, okay, Lion can TP in and like hex me here. So instead of positioning to the right of this tower here, he positions to the left, because Lion can't TP here without being scouted in vision. So and that's the thing, is like, it's not about the okay, I have another analogy going super tangential, but the way I see it is it's like the criminal justice system, right? This whole thing only needs to exist for like the psychopaths and stuff. Like, most normal people will not commit crimes. Most normal people will not murder, steal, etc., etc. But it's not about normal people. It's about the normal people being protected from the bad people, right? The very small percentage that are incredibly dangerous. Like, that's why we have the criminal justice system and law and policing and all of this stuff. And that's exactly how I see this situation, where the reason
that's why Arteezy would have quelling bladed that tree right there.
Exactly. Exactly.
It's not a random move. He's doing that on purpose.
It's not about the 99% of the time that nobody does anything and that they let you survive. It's about the tiny fraction where you do survive, they do make the play that you anticipated, and then you survive, whereas a bad carry would have died. Like, those are the situations that matter. It's not the 99% of the time where nothing happens. Though that's irrelevant. Anyway.
Gotcha.
It's like, yeah, anyway. Let me go ahead and see what's going on here.
Pile all that up on you and then just a gotcha? That sounds good.
Yeah. Good stuff.
I'm kidding.
I'm listening.
There's not much to say.
Anyway, Valithor, this is crazy, dude. Like, this is...
Yeah, what is this?
This is insanity. Bro. How are you not dead right now? I feel like you should just be hexed. And like
It's not
Mars
even just
ultied.
that. I was gonna say it's not even just that what he's doing is like crazy. If they were showing on the map, but like literally no one was showing on the map. If you rewind during that,
Let me go look.
not a single soul. Look at his mini
I think
map.
I see people bottom.
I guess there's a Rubik and a Lion, but I mean the Kintel's
Yeah, I
guys.
see those two
Look how
guys.
far you are. That's crazy.
Okay, so there's some shenanigans happening bot. Your team is... Okay, I feel like if Lion TP's in right now, you literally can't do anything. You're dead.
If any of them TP
If
in, yeah.
Rubik or if somebody with the stun TP's in, I feel like at 14 minutes, you should have left the safe lane. This is like...
I agree,
This
yeah.
is an insane amount of time
Especially
to be...
versus Spectre, right? It's like Spectre came top before you went to bot. Isn't that like a little weird?
Yeah.
I think sitting in the safe lane is the least safe thing past like 5-6 minutes. You're just... This is the most likely place to get killed. And as a carry, your life is incredibly valuable. I think probably what you should do is you should like... Okay, you're against a Spectre, right? So even though you're Ursa with a Battle Fury, like you're still on a timer. You're always on a timer against Spectre. Like even if you're a damn Terrorblade or a Phantom Lancer, you're on a timer against Spectre. It's a bullshit hero. So the fact that you guys have this... You had this advantage and that it didn't like transfer into anything. Like this tower is still at 90% HP. Like this should be dead.
Right.
You guys have
I'm gonna
really
tell you
good
this.
early game. You have Enigma with Black Hole. You know, you're an Ursa. So like if you run at this bot area, they can't. They literally need to bring everybody if they want to defend this. And then if they get wiped and defending it, they literally lose right there. Period. So I think
snowball some like 30-minute win, yeah.
yeah, I think basically like the problem I have with this game right now is you're playing it like really slowly, as if you're gonna outcarry a Spectre, which is possible with the Battle Fury, in terms of like you might have 2 items on her, but you still want to like give yourself the highest possible chance, obviously, and progress the game forward.
If you don't really know what's going on, like you feel like there's nothing going on top, you're not like actively winning the game. You know what I mean? Or like you're getting destroyed in your lane. Safe answer is usually like, okay, I should probably just go to the off lane. And if you go to the off lane, it doesn't feel very good. You know, you're still like having a hard time adapting. You're just following what we're saying. That's why you're doing it. But like your gut feeling is that it feels off. Chances are you should just back up and go hit the jungle then, like near the off lane though. Because as soon as that opportunity presents itself, you want to capitalize on it.
Dude, I swear to God, you said
Weird, but yeah.
you said something that I've said like exactly in a video, and I don't know if it's because I learned it from you, like way back in the day, or because like there's
I have
like
no idea. We're the same brain for the most part.
I feel like we have the same like Dota mindset. That's literally what I tell people in coaching is if you don't know where to go, the answer is the enemy safe lane. That's always the answer if you don't know where to go. And I never would extend it as far as like saying go to the triangle if that feels off, but you know that seems really logical to me. That like I
think on other heroes it's not that important, or other roles rather. But on carry, you know, you still have to get gold, and you have to not die.
It's like
To a
other
degree. Like,
roles
you
you'd
set yourself back.
in other roles you'd like rather feed in the enemy safe lane and then have your carry farming the triangle. Whereas as a carry, you don't want to feed in the enemy safe lane, but you want to go there first and see if that's feeling good.
Because it's like I was saying earlier when you TP'd in, right? It's like you showing up last is good, but you can't always expect to be able to TP into something. Like let's say a fight breaks out at the tower, right? Or like your TP's on cooldown for whatever reason. You just died, you TP'd into farm, and then you backed up to the triangle. If you were to TP bot and then just run all the way back to your jungle, you can see why that'd be problematic, right? You have no TP and you're just so far from your team. But if you have this mindset that like, okay, I need to be near my team, but I just don't need to be there yet, and you're farming near them, then good stuff will happen if a fight does break out or you're needed.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think part of the problem is I tend to not really trust my teammates to make the right moves with me. I feel like if I try to force things all the time, I'll end up getting my whole team to feed.
I mean, I think it all goes back to like the autopiloting, right? It's like way easier to autopilot into farm than to autopilot, go to the right place and make pressure just from like existing in that area.
Yeah.
It takes a lot more active thinking, you know?
Yeah, and I mean, if you don't want to play an autopilot hero, it's like the best one is on the enemy team. So
Spectre,
yeah, that's a good one. It's like Spectre or Wraith King. All right, what's happening here? What's happening in this game so far? I got your Basher. I would say like playing around the Roche area is your next objective because you're Ursa and you have guys that can tank it for you. And if they don't have Haunt, you just go Roche, and I don't think they can fight you. I think you guys need to look to like...
Do you want to just talk about like the order of things that are supposed to happen? Like in my opinion, like a very normal game of Dota, right? Like some super vanilla game where everything's going according to plan. I think a lot of people in the lower ratings, they act like they know what to do, but like outside of the laning stage, sure, they didn't know how to lane. It's like, I want to get the tower. Like they have this basic idea, but I think the order of the objectives, they're kind of lost. In my games, if I see a tower not taken that I know probably should be like, I don't know, we should be attempting to take, or like that should be our next objective, it helps a lot with like my thought process of what to do next. Where I think a lot of players don't actually think about that kind of stuff. They're just like, I kind of want to take mid tower, and they just like start walking at it. I'm just gonna do a quick little summary, in my opinion, of how it should go. It should be like laning stage, and then you want to make some big move with like a smoke or just like bringing a bunch of heroes, usually to the offlane tower. Again, this is like an ideal scenario.
The
right?
enemy safe lane tower, like your offline.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna assume everything's going according to plan. So you go to the enemy safe lane, you take their tower, and from there you like shove a wave or two so that you get some pressure from the tower actually being taken. Because for example, if you take the tower, it's not actually doing that much for you yet if you just immediately move somewhere else, right? The enemy team doesn't actually have to react to the tower being taken. Like with the creeps running up to the tier 2, they're going to think like, oh, I need to send a guy down there, right? They're going to send like Lion, or they're going to send like Spectre, and he's going to try to haunt, right?
Yeah.
So if you let that pressure from the lane like start to be active, and then you like move somewhere else, it's way better. And then after that, I think you should try to take the mid tower. I think the most important tower in the game actually is the mid tower, but it's usually just too hard to take. But like, let's say your mid laner's owning, you could potentially just take that tower first. Yeah, I think those are the two first towers. I think that's important.
I always say with mid, one huge difference between very high rated games and very low rated games is like the way that you take the mid tower. In low rated games, people just face run at it from like the front.
Right.
And in high rated games, it's always like a backstab to like push people out, and there's no low ground.
Yeah, and that's like goes hand in hand with what I was saying, right? Is if you let the pressure come in from bot, basically you use like the creeps moving forward as like a shield to block your play. Like it's like it kind of blinds them from it, right? It's like the less information they have from their creeps being forward and you have your creeps going forward, you can like mask your play to run to mid. And then after that, usually, honestly, I don't think the tier 1 safe lane tower is that important these days.
No way. Like
I think Roche is actually more important.
Enemy offlane tower.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like your safe lane tower.
Yeah.
So like usually it's going to be you take those first two tier 1s, mid and the enemy offlane, or like your offlane tower, so the enemy safe lane tower. After you take that, usually I think trying to get like some sort of map control and lead so you can start taking Roche as soon as you can is actually like the best play to do.
You like put wards down, play in either the triangle or the enemy jungle.
Right. And like I was saying earlier with like the creeps is like you want to let those lanes push in because they give you a lot of information and take some information away from them. So like if you were to do a Roche play, or like let's say you didn't push the mid wave past river and you just try to do Roche, it's actually kind of awkward because they can just walk up and you wouldn't even know they're walking up. But if you have the creep wave push, you know, some guys to go deal with it, or the angle they take is a little worse. You know, they have to come from some cliff angle.
You go tier 1 enemy safe lane, tier 1 enemy mid, probably Roche, or a tier 2, and you take some map control.
The reason why I don't like tier 2s these days is the fort is really scary. And usually when people are trying to take the tier 2s, like early on, they actually aren't strong enough to take it quick enough to where the enemy team can just like respawn and keep chain running at you and like potentially getting their lead back. So usually I would favor like getting Roche and then using like the power of your Aegis to go take tier 2s. Like even here, the fact that you guys are going high ground, this is actually what I was going to talk about next is I feel like the first Aegis, usually you're not strong enough off the first Aegis. Like for example, you only have like a 9k lead, right? Which is a lot. I say only, but it's because usually like when you try to go high ground this early, like look at, they're all like buying back. They're even spawning really quick. Rubik's already spawned. Mars is about to spawn. It gets really scary.
I actually don't mind the idea of hitting the mid wave like this, or hitting the mid tower.
Right.
But like the moment they're all respawning, this is no longer the same game that you're in.
It's not the same scenario at all, right? You don't have black hole. Like, what are you guys doing here, right? It's like you're here just because you have Aegis, which you're pretty strong, but like, for example, you're initiating on them, right? You guys are hitting the tower. They want to go on you to stop you. Mm-hmm. If you guys are just hitting them when they overcommit to you, that's a completely different story. But like trying to go on them without spells and without that big of a lead, it just looks weird, right? It's like this is why low-rated players tend to like throw games more, is they think their leads are bigger than they actually are, and they get really overzealous and excited to like kill people.
I mean, where I'm at with this is just that I think when they respawn, this is going back to this idea that Newsham said of like letting the pressure mount first and then like, you know, taking other objectives with that pressure. Like you've already forced them all here. You've let the pressure build by hitting this. Like, you don't need to get this Rax. This Rax will eventually fall. You've already gotten what you wanted out of the pressure being here. Because they're all back, and they're all so scared that they're about to lose the game and defending this. And if you just go farm the entire map right now, they're all just sitting in their base, twiddling their thumbs, doing nothing. Like, you get the Rax, they're sitting in their base, twiddling their thumbs. You don't get the Rax, they're sitting in their base, twiddling their thumbs. It's the same thing, regardless of you getting the Rax or not. Either way, they're locked in their base, and the creeps are pushed into their base, whether it's megas or normal creeps. One way you're going to push the creeps, the other, and you have total map control. The other way it's megas pushing themselves. You actually get less farm by getting their Rax. So like, I don't even think you should be. I think you just hit this, know that they're all going to come back and have to deal with you, and then just cut the waves and like and back out. I think this dive is crazy, and I think you should basically just back off. And if your team goes in and feeds without you, whatever.
Yeah, I think that's life. I don't think you should worry about it.
So I mean, you can see though, like when they do go on you outside of the base, they get wiped. But that's just like you guys making a mistake and then them making a mistake. Like once again, going back to the concept of like if they're better players.
I mean, you guys are even going back here, right? This is crazy.
Yeah.
You guys are pretty low in resources. You still don't have black hole. Two people are showing on your map. You have Rasta showing bot. You have Nyx showing top. It's not just that you're missing them. It's they know that they're missing, right? The enemy team literally can see that you guys are only 3 heroes here.
Oh, insanity!
Like this is definitely why you guys lost. I don't even have to guess. I can already see
oh boy! Oh boy!
And this kind of goes back with what I was saying too, right? About like knowing the flow of the game. It's like you don't have Aegis anymore, right? The reason why you are pushing that Rax, like everyone knows, it's like, oh, it's easy to see the towers on the outside of the map. It's like I already got them all. I got to go kill tier 3s now. Like next order of business. It's like really obvious, right?
Yeah.
But like to know, can I do this is way different. And in my opinion, you shouldn't take like a super high risk if there's no point to, which is like, again, the right play is definitely to just back up, farm up a bit, hopefully don't get smoked on, which that would just mean the enemy team's playing good, right? Which is definitely like an aspect of Dota to talk about. It's like sometimes you'd be making the right move, which is what you want to be thinking about. Who cares if they smoke and kill you? That shouldn't deter you from wanting to play well and having like the right idea, the right mindset.
The thing is, though, I kind of feel like if they smoke out and try to kill you, you're so far ahead that they probably just get wiped because they're fighting outside their base. Like, I think the only way they win this is if you guys relentlessly feed in their base.
Right, but I'm just saying, like, worst case scenario, right? Let's say they're split up because, like, someone's screaming on their mic, oh, we should split up and farm. And everyone's literally splitting up as much as they possibly could. You know, there's, like, 2 guys in jungle, 1 guy in each lane. Which I don't even think is that bad. Say they smoke and kill just you, or, like, they kill, like, the most high-priority target, which I guess would be you in this game. Is it really that bad? Like, does your team lose that much from that if you're not getting completely wiped? I feel like you'd be getting such a big lead from taking, like, 80% of the map, and they only have, like, 20%. Them killing you is not going to change whatever happened before that, you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
And then as soon as you get the next Aegis, then you can go apply pressure and go try to end the game, or, you know, suicide run at the Rax with Black Hole or whatever.
I do like your team fight priority. Like, I think you're going on the right heroes all the time. Like,
right,
you're going on, like, Lion and Rubik. And I think from playing with you, I can say, like, I've never really seen you do something stupid when it comes to team fights. Like, I think you press your spells. Like, whenever you're on my screen, you're usually doing the right thing. From what I've noticed, but
comforting.
Yeah, I think it's more of like the conceptual stuff that you tend to like. I don't know, fall short on or whatever.
Yeah.
Especially if you're listening to your teammates for the conceptual stuff, because then you're just always going to be locked into the bracket of whatever teammates you're listening to,
right.
Which is your current bracket. So Enigma bot, this dude is top. You guys are split. You're taking a fight, which is kind of crazy.
This right here is exactly what should have been happening when you guys were trying to high ground for no reason. The 2 times you did. See, there's a common trend, right? Think about the stuff that happened bot. Eventually, you guys all went down there and good stuff happened. You guys are eventually going top because stuff's happening, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I'm sure, like, the viewer, for example, right? Let's say they don't know why they're, like, low rated. And if they were to have, like, a better player watch the game, this is, like, a common trend. It's not just, like, just Valithor's replaying Valithor's garbage and he gets in garbage games or something. There's always, like, this clear separation where it's, like, in bad games, they're doing the right stuff. It's not like they're complete, you know, monkeys. They're doing the right stuff. It's just so much later than the good games. The good games, all the stuff happens like 5 minutes before. It's like the chances of throwing are significantly lower, basically. You have to play much tighter.
The earlier you do things, you're giving the enemy team like less opportunity to own.
Yeah, instead of this 10k lead, you'd have a 20k lead, or so would have another item right now.
Right,
and potentially about to kill Roche again. Because, like, for example, all this stuff is just on a timer slower behind, including Roche. Like right now, you'd already be on your second or third Roche, right?
It's like
Instead
Aghanim's
of waiting
trial,
for
Valithor. It's like Aghanim's trial.
Yeah, you got to speedrun Dota.
You're speedrunning Dota. That's really what it is. You know,
I mean, it really is. A lot of people think about it like that. I'm sure Eternal Envy and Artesian them who just queue constantly. I'm sure to them it is like speedrunning MMR.
Yeah. You guys are still
Well,
throwing.
I still don't know why you lost. So yeah, you can probably fast forward for a while. I think we've talked about all the stuff that honestly needs to be talked about in the late game. It's kind of random. Things just kind of happen. And this is why you don't want to go to these hyper late game situations.
You're rolling
When
the
you
dice.
die, you make that one mistake. Yeah, you're down for 80 seconds.
That's
Suddenly
not
you
what
lost,
that
right?
looked like, but you couldn't see my camera. I was doing like a dice roll thing, and I realized it was kind of questionable looking, but
Oh, okay.
you can imagine. All right, let's see. Aegis, cheese. All right, can't wait to see you guys throw with these.
That's what I'm saying. I really
me.
don't understand how'd you lose this. There's so much more time in this game. There's 20 more minutes.
Yeah.
You say you don't want to watch?
Yeah. I think it's
Okay.
bad.
Okay, let's see. Wow, they actually have kind of annoying, like the line mana trade's like unironically kind of annoying right now. You have to like use clarities. We've got so many items. He's owning you with the mana drain. Okay.
Oh my god, you want to angrily kill him too. I can see that. Oh no. Oh.
Yeah.
What's going on?
Maybe a
Everyone's running
little
around
bit
with
of,
BKBs, but they're not actually... Oh, see, again, it's just like patterns, constant patterns. Instead of doing the objective and knowing what's important, just like initiating on them instead of letting them go on you.
I mean, I just want to be the guy that says, like, I feel like if you guys did this, like, 15 minutes earlier because you just didn't throw that one time and, like, you know, you went to the safe lane sooner, like, they're owning you because, like, Lion's level 19, so he's got, like, this cast range and mana drain slow talent, and he's got a telescope. Like, they have all these things now. This guy's got a Dagon 5. He's just one-hitting your Nyx before he can Carapace, who also has a Dagon 5. Like, at this point, the game's so chaotic.
Right.
It's just so random that it's like, in an ideal world, this game's just already over right now for you guys.
Right. Oh, that's
That's
good
a
stuff.
nice hole, although...
That was entertaining. Oh, it's about to get stolen, I think, devastatingly. Oh no, you're good.
Oh, he did Malefice it, though. Here's what happened. The Rubik accidentally stole Spell before Black Hole, and then he's like, oh god, I have to interrupt it now, because I can't steal it. And then he actually did get it off, so... Good for him. Anyway, yeah, you guys have, like, mad thrown this. Like, momentum's in their favor.
It's like, you got their racks, but, you know, at what cost?
And the thing that I always, like, point out, too, is that they didn't get the melee racks, so it's, like, just still range racks. Even then, it's, like, Spectre late game. But the XP graph always looks so much worse than the gold graph. Like, this hasn't caught up yet. It takes a while to catch up. Look at that. See that? Like, that's not looking too good, right? Even though the gold is...
I mean, at this point, do you
not
even
bad.
want to go into more of this, or, like, can we
Nah,
wrap things up?
nah, we can-
I feel like there's no point to even...
We can wrap it up.
All right, good, because I already started doing some really bad things in a few minutes.
I mean, see, that's the thing, right? It's like you're thinking about the stuff that happened after. That stuff doesn't even matter. And like,
Yeah. Okay.
I've seen crazy stuff happen from me, from Jenkins, from everyone. Like, some of the best players. You know, like even Eternal Envy has plenty of Reddit-worthy clips.
I think you listed off, like, 3 of the best players in the world there, basically.
Yeah, I did.
Especially the
Valithor,
first
Eternal
guy.
Envy.
Newsham and
Eternal Envy,
Eternal Envy.
Jenkins.
Yeah.
Anyways, though, you get what I'm saying. It's like these really good players have these crazy clips where they do some hilarious stuff and everyone's like laughing at them. But like the problem, more than likely, was way before that actually occurred.
That's true. Also, on another note, I think I said this on some podcast, some like Dota Alchemy podcast or whatever way back, but I feel the same way about like Miracle. Like obviously that guy's an incredible player. He's like an AI who's designed to play Dota. Like 100% respect for the guy. But a lot of the time when you see like the rampages and stuff, the important stuff that he did was way earlier in the game, and it's really easy.
Course, yeah.
Like you could put a Guardian player in there, and they'll get a rampage. Maybe not Guardian, but you get what I'm saying. Like
I get what you're saying.
You could you can put a much worse player in there, and yeah, exactly. He just right clicked,
Right.
but because
it's the same
he
for
has
like the
this
people getting the
lead.
5-man echo slams. It's like they got that because of the map control and like the situation they presented before he
Right.
blinked in. It's really easy to click blink dagger and press R, right? And everyone can do that stuff.
Yeah,
so.
yeah, but it's like being ready. It's like forcing the enemy team into the position where they have to group up, especially if they're good players that are grouping up. Like those things are a lot more important or impressive, or I don't know what you want to call it. But anyway, that's it.
That's it.
Show, guys.
Thanks for watching.
Thanks, guys.
We'll be back with this, maybe.
If it does good, yeah.
If you like it, we'll be back. Let us know if Valithor should talk more, if Newsham and I should shut up, if Newsham needs to fix his mic, whatever you say it, we'll listen. And we appreciate you guys taking a gander and listening to us. So thank you, and we'll see you later.